Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a much more cooler way, an interactive way of learning and teaching. And as you know, KRS always brings the unique, the best, and the easiest way for you to understand astrology. And today, we are going to embark on a particular method of understanding astrology, which will show you everything. It'll show you exactly what a planet will do when it gets activated, what a planet will do in its Mahadasha, what a planet will do even in transit. Because I'm actually taking this even beyond just the birth chart. I'm looking at transits this way, and it's working like scary magic. And so what I'm going to be teaching today is this: Pai Padhati, known as Pai map. Why? Because this is something that Dr. Arjun Pai worked on, the genius, the original creator of all the nakshatra methods we have come to learn. And this is his original work. This is why I'm calling it a Paddhati. There's a Krishnamurti Paddhati. You know, there's all sort of Bhrigu Paddhatis. Well, now you have Pai Padhati. So how do you understand Pai map? I mean, this is like, because you know, I am sending emails to Dr. Arjun Pai after I do consultations. And when the people respond like, what? How did you know? I'm like, Dr. Arjun Pai. Okay. So the first thing you want to know about Pai Padhati is this. Little mathematics. This is the very first thing you want to know. 9 times 3 equals 27. And what is 27 equals to? Nakshatras. So what does this mean? Well, think of 9 as a group and 3 as a group. Think of this 9 as a cycle. 9 cycles. Think of 3 as group of nakshatras. This is the very first thing you want to understand. This equals a cycle, like cycle 1 all the way through 9. So cycle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the group of 3 nakshatras together. Okay? So that's that. So now, how do we understand this in more detail? My back's gonna go. Well, I gotta erase this first. All right, so we're gonna do this. This is group 1. Group 2. Okay, you can see up to here. Group 3. Okay. So what does this mean? Well, first of all, think of, you know the 9 groups that I told you? 9 times 3 equals 27. This is cycle. This is group of nakshatras. So look at this part. I'm going to put group 1, Ashwani nakshatra. Because remember, you got to know about nakshatras in this. You got to know about what nakshatra is, what they mean. And after that, it's just a piece of cake. Bharani, Kritika. This is group 1. Okay. Then Rohini, Mriksira, Aradhra. This is group 2. Then Punravasu, Pushya, Ashlesha. This is group 3. So now, if you know the chronological order of the nakshatras, so Ashwani, the nakshatra starts with Ashwani and ends at Revati. Okay? So the very first 3 nakshatra, and remember, this is easy. You got to just look at this as the sign of the zodiac sign. Just look at the zodiac sign. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra. So in Aries nakshatra, whatever nakshatra comes in, okay, these are the chronological order. You go by the zodiac sign. So for all the new people who are just like, what the hell is he talking about? Well, nakshatras are like the wheels beneath the bed of a truck that they move the zodiac sign. It's the foundation of the zodiac sign. They are working behind the scenes of a zodiac sign. So in Aries, you will have Ashwani for the first 13.20 degrees. Then you'll have the nakshatra of Bharani. Then Kritika, which spills into the sign of Taurus. So nakshatras are the 27 constellation, the lunar mansions behind the scenes of a zodiac sign. So then you can keep going. Group 4 gets which nakshatra? Magha, Purva Falguni, then Uttara Falguni. Then group 5, Hasta, then Chitra, Swati. After Swati comes, so now the group 4 is these 3 nakshatra, group 5 is this nakshatra, then group 6 comes Vishaka. Anuradha and Jyeshtha. This is the other group. Now we'll move to the third group. Then you have the last group, group 7, group 8, group 9. In group 7 comes Mula. Okay? The next one is Purva Shada. The third one is Uttara Shada. So this is group 7. Then group 8 is Dhanishta. Saravan. I don't know if I'm spelling this right. Sastbishak. Okay. Wow, this pen is already out. Then the third one would be Purva Bhadrapada. Then Uttara Bhadrapada. Then the last one would be Revati. So now you got these 9 groups of nakshatras. So now what does this mean? Well, let's talk about that. So what are cycles? All these cycles, 1 all the way through 3, which has 3 nakshatras in each one of them. Well, they think of this as like a pending karma. Think of this as the pending karma. Number 1 cycle refers to you, the self, the first house. Think of these as houses. The first 9 houses of your birth chart. So this is self. So whenever you have nakshatras in your nakshatras in your birth chart, in the first group that I showed you, Ashwani, Bharani, Kritaka, these nakshatra represent the self-development of the soul. Okay, so these are soul cycles. The next one has to do with money, family, everything that the second house represents. Third one will have to do with communication, travel, siblings. Fourth one, home, mother. Okay. Think of all the basic concepts of the 4th house. Land. 5th house, education. Children. Arts. 3rd house is also arts. 6th house, prarabdha karma. Debts. Health. 7th house, of course, marriage, business. 8th house, transformation. Insurance, inheritance, life and death scenarios. 9th is your dharma, long distance travel, guru, okay, religion. So these are the 9 cycles. So when I was talking about the nakshatras, okay, all the nakshatras in this group, Ashwani, Bharani, Kritaka, represents this. All the nakshatra in here, Rohini, Mriksira, Aradhra. So whatever nakshatra is in your birth chart. So if let's say you have the nakshatra of Purva Bhadrapada, Uttara Bhadrapada, Revati, well, they are representing the 9th cycle of dharma. And this is why you know the nakshatras, the last 3 nakshatras, are all about higher spirituality and understanding the higher wisdom. This is wisdom, 9th house is wisdom. So you have to have the basic knowledge of houses, which pretty much I just described here. So now, let's go another one step deeper. So, if we take, let's say, Venus, okay, and we'll put Venus in the nakshatra of Rohini. What does this say? Well, the first thing we see is the basics. Venus is wife, spouse. Okay, that's the first thing we see about Venus, a woman. Rohini, arts, lust, business, sports. So now we see this. Then we add the fact that this equals to the second cycle of the Pai Padhati. So once I see this, what I see here is that whoever has this, regardless if you're a man or woman, because remember, if you're a woman, sure, this may not apply, but this applies. It could be your spouse. Venus can also represent any woman that comes in your life. But let's just concentrate on the fact you're a man, woman, regardless, and I see the fact that, oh, this is the spouse. I see Rohini. This is what Rohini is. I see the second cycle. So what do I see here? I see the fact that when this person gets married and this woman comes into their life or this spouse comes into their life, their second house will get activated. Meaning, they will start getting money in their life. Savings will increase. Family interaction will increase. Why? Because when you got married, you activated this Venus. So this is the very first step of understanding this Pai Padhati. Okay? So then, I can even go a little bit deeper. So this is the actual Pai Padhati map that Dr. Pai sent it to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll. So this way you can all see what this is. This is, remember the cycle 1? This is cycle 1. These are the 3 nakshatras. So I'm going to go where you can see cycle 2. This is cycle 2, cycle 3, cycle 4, cycle 5, cycle 6, cycle 7, cycle 8, and cycle 9. And what you can do is just pause. If you ever look at your horoscope, and if you want to judge in somebody else's horoscope, you can come back to this map and refer to this map. And obviously, if you do not know what your horoscope, what your planetary nakshatra placement is, what Paddha they're in, for that, obviously go to my website, astrologyKRS.com, and the option literally 5 all the way through 13th will give you the report. So you see this? These are Paddhas. Paddha 1, Paddha 2, Paddha 3, Paddha 4. See, these are 4 Paddhas, but why are there 2 layers? Well, remember these cycles, cycle 1, cycle 2? Well, think of the very first box again as a cycle. So Paddha 1 is cycle 1. Paddha 2 is cycle 2. Paddha 3 is cycle 3. Paddha 4 is cycle 4. Then the first Paddha of Bharini Nakshatra becomes the cycle 5. Second Paddha of Bharini Nakshatra becomes the cycle 6. Then third Paddha cycle 7. Fourth Paddha cycle 8. Then the first Paddha of Kritika Nakshatra is cycle 9. Then second Paddha becomes the first cycle again, because remember there's only 9 cycles, so we kind of again start again. So second Paddha of Kritika Nakshatra is cycle 1, then cycle 2, then cycle 3. So these are the cycles. All the 4 Paddhas of each nakshatra become this continuous cycle, which keeps starting after number 9. Bottom layer shows the zodiac sign the planet will be in when they're in a certain Paddha. So when planet is in the first Paddha of Ashwani Nakshatra, it'll always be in the sign of Aries. This 1, 2, 3, 4 is the zodiac sign. See? They go all the way to the sign 12, Pisces. So if you are a Kritika Nakshatra moon in the third Paddha, you are in the second cycle of this Paddha. and you are in the sign of Aquarius in the Navamsha chart. So anywhere you go, so let's say for example, you have a planet. Let's say you have a planet in the first Padha of Vishaka Nakshatra. Let's say your moon is in the first Padha of Vishaka Nakshatra, which is the 7th cycle. Okay? 7th cycle has to do with marriage, relationship, business, partnership. And moon will be in the sign of Aries in the Navamsha chart. So number 1 becomes very important as well, meaning you, your physical self. At the same time, when you make the Lord of Vishaka, Jupiter the ascendant, when you make Vishaka the ascendant, which is happening in the sign of Libra, okay, the first 3 padhas are happening in the sign of Libra. And the last padha, the 4th padha, spills into the sign of Scorpio. So if your moon is the first padha, you make Libra the ascendant. From Libra, Jupiter, who rules the Vishaka Nakshatra, rules the 3rd house and the 6th house. And Jupiter is debilitated in the 4th house, exalted in the 10th house. So because moon represents your mother, look at this dynamic and see what moon will do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the board and show you again as an example. Now that you know the cycles of the padhas and the sign that the planet is in, I'll give you an example that I sent to Dr. Arjun Pai just a couple of days ago when I did a reading for this person. So they had, let me just go back. They were in the, yeah, okay, here it is. Okay. So this person had a Venus in the nakshatra of Anuradha. Okay. And Anuradha is a nakshatra that happens in Scorpio. Sign of Scorpio. And it's ruled by Saturn. And remember, it's the 6th cycle in the nakshatra cycle. So, and then also, it was the first cycle of the Padha, and it was in the sign of Libra in Navamsha. So what would you say to this person? Well, we'll make Venus the ascendant in Scorpio. Which houses does the Lord of Anuradha rules? Which is Saturn. It rules the 4th house and the 3rd house. Which sign is Saturn exalted in? 12th house, it's exalted in the sign of Libra. Which sign is debilitated in? It's debilitated in the 6th house of health, debts. So as soon as we see this part, what I first see here is that when this person gets married, they may have to travel a lot. And because 3rd house and 4th house is both ruled by Saturn, that means 3rd house becomes 12th from the 4th house, which means this person may have to go to foreign places. This person may have to go to foreign places. And because it's exalted in the 12th house is foreign lands. As well as spirituality. And this is health, debts. So when I saw this, and I saw the fact that this was the first cycle of the Padha, so, and in the 7th cycle, that means the 7th house also becomes active for this person, and the 1st house becomes active. So what I analyzed and said that this person, I'm like, after marriage, not only your business went up, not only you bought a property and a house, Yet you travel to foreign places after marriage where you found success. Because remember, Saturn is exalted. And I said you got into debts as well. Big debts. And yes, they became more spiritual. They started going to temples and spiritual gatherings. They had fixed assets coming, not just house, but also they got 3 cars. And they got very good with communication. They also started writing. Because remember, this is the own sign of Saturn, Capricorn. Saturn is very good in the sign of Capricorn. This is Mul Trikon sign of Saturn, Aquarius. So obviously Saturn is going to give very good things in the 4th house. But also you have to understand the meaning of Anuradha. This represents, and I also said, your spouse is the most devoted spouse to you. I said no matter what happens for her, marriage is most important and devotion to you is very important, and shows that in past life, your spouse was actually your bhakt, meaning she was like a Radha and Krishna relationship. It shows that. Though this is why you have to also know what the hell does Anuradha means, or what the hell does any nakshatra means. You have to know the meaning of the nakshatra as well. But this is what happened when this person, Venus, got activated with marriage. So now when you look at the Pai Padhati map, you can look at anything. And here, let me also make this easier for you. So this way you understand what you're looking at. Actually, I can just use the side space. I don't need to erase the whole thing. So you see these karkas that represents in Vedic astrology. Sun is the father, moon is the mother, Mars is the brother, Jupiter is the guru. Okay, Saturn is servants. And then you can say Venus is the spouse. Already talked about Venus. Okay, Mercury is friends. Rahu and Ketu are maternal and paternal grandfather and mother. You can look at any nakshatra of this planet and you can say, okay, this is my life, father's life. If father had nakshatra of Anuradha, okay, you can see that what father has brought in your life. You can see what mother might have brought in your life. So let's say if you're servant, you got a servant in your home. Servant, Saturn, had this nakshatra of Anuradha. In the 3rd Padha, which is the first cycle, and it lands Saturn in its exalted position in the 7th house, which shows with servant coming in your home, you suddenly found yourself getting multiple properties. You found yourself also perhaps even getting chances to travel to foreign places, foreign lands. And servant was your devotee in past life, and you will have a very devoted servant in your life. And remember the debt part that I said about the person, like you got into debt. Of course they got into debt. They got a house. They actually bought 2 properties. They got 2 houses. So what did they have to do? They have to take a loan. So they got mortgage with those things. This is how you can see it. That's how easy it is. So this is what Pai Padhati is. Once you use it, boom. As long as you just remember in your head which padha of which nakshatra is which cycle and what sign it lands in, Boom, 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 boom. Predictions. No need to wait. But you gotta know the meaning of the nakshatra as well. What that planet is doing in that nakshatra, which obviously I'm covering. This is the Pai Padhati. This is end all and be all. There's much more deeper things to it, and I'll probably bring Dr. Arjun Pai to show us a chart where he can show us in his own concept. Okay? So guys, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And again, if you would like to get your reports and see where your planets are placed so you can see how this Pai Padhati is working for you, for that, check out the links right there and you'll find my consultations, books, and astrology report. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.